Hi, my name is Rachel Walker. I'm a professor at the University of Wisconsin-River Falls, and I teach in the equine department. I'm here today with Indy Lead. He's a 4-year-old thoroughbred, to demonstrate to you the techniques that I use on every horse when I'm starting with groundwork, just to kind of get a checklist going and make sure that I have the buttons that I need on the ground to stay safe and to communicate with my horse. So there's Indy. In the video today, we are going to go through 4 different things. The 10 feet away rule, leading, sending the horse left and right, and then we're going to touch a little bit on flag work at the end. So I have Indy outfitted in a rope halter today, and a rope halter is pretty much my go-to. I have a 15-foot lead attached to this, so I have room to send him away from me. And then I also today have a stick and string and a flag. So I always start with backing up, or what I call the 10 feet away rule. The reason for this is I work with a lot of off-track thoroughbreds. If you're working with a green horse, or really any horse in general, every horse has the capability of getting anxious or frustrated, going up in the air, rearing, striking, kicking, all of those things that horses do. If a horse does that 10 feet away or more, that is safer for me as the handler. So my number one priority is safety for my students and safety for myself. When I ask my horse to back up, I want him to move away from me and put more space between us. I don't want to walk up underneath him or grab underneath his halter and push him backwards. I want his feet to move away from where my feet are located, and I want him to create more space in between us, like he is in this photo. I'd like to be able to get him to the end of this 15-foot line, or a 20 or 25-foot line, or back him up as far as I ask him to go. When I ask him to back, I'm going to hold my stick and string upside down, and I'm going to use an underhanded motion to push it towards his chest. I will start with a slow, quiet swing, and then I will increase my energy, and I will swing it a little more firmly and a little more firmly until I get a backward step, and then I will stop swinging. Eventually, we can get rid of the stick and string and use body language or body cues instead. The next skill we move on to is short lunging, or some people will call this sending. So once I have my horse standing at least 10 feet away from me, looking at me, paying attention, I would like to be able to ask the horse to walk around me in a small circle to the left and to the right, and to stop in between. So this is not a high energy activity. I will use a leading hand and a pushing hand. So in this picture, the leading hand is my right and my pushing hand is my left. And you can see I'm holding my stick and string backwards behind me in my pushing hand. I like to carry the stick and string down on the ground rather than in the air. When your stick and string is up in the air, it provides kind of a loud aid for your horse. And I don't want that aid to be constantly present. So I want to lead my horse with the right, push with my pushing hand, and when he walks off, both hands go back to neutral. So now I'm making this his job to walk around me and not my job to constantly push on him. When I go to stop him, there are several techniques. Right here, I used my stick and string in the opposite hand to block. And you'll notice he takes a step back and settles into himself. So now I'll change my leading hand and my pushing hand and send him the other way. Also notice he is staying at least 10 feet away from me. Right there he picked up the trot, which I don't mind. It was his choice to pick up the trot, but he did it far enough away from me that I'm not in danger. Part of the reason this horse trotted is that he is quite sensitive. I don't normally use the stick and string with him because he's very watchful of me. He's very tuned in. So I don't tend to use that. I had it for demonstration purposes, but you can see that that stick and string was a rather loud aid for him, and he goes off quite nicely just with body cues. Right here, his attention wavers because there were a few mares that came in the arena, but he's still paying attention to my body language when I back up. He turns and he stops and he looks at me. The next step I take is teaching them to lead. And you'll notice that I don't lead them or talk about leading until we've done backing up and the 10 feet away rule and sending left and right. I think these are important skills for them to master before we talk about proper leading, and it gives them a baseline for what they're expected to do while I'm leading. I expect my horses to stay off to the side of me when I'm leading them, and also to stay behind where my hand would be if I extended it out sideways. So if I put my hand out, he should keep his nose behind my hand. This way he's not pulling on me. He's not the one leading, he's following me. And also, so by staying behind my hand, and also by staying off to the side, if something spooks him and he runs forward quickly, he's off to the side of me. He can do that. He can run past me. I'm safe. He's safe. No one has gotten crashed into. And he's in a space where he's paying attention to my body cues as we're leading. I'm going to touch just a little bit on flag work. There's a lot more to this, and it's not something I do with every horse, not something I do right away, but I thought it was important to at least touch on knowing your goal when you're working with the flag. When I'm working with a flag, my goal is to use that flag as a tool to ask my horse to pay attention. So I am not using this flag as a desensitizing tool, and I'm definitely not using it as a tool to wave at my horse to get them to run around me. I might use it as an extension of my arm to ask my horse to go, and I will certainly use it up in the air to ask my horse to pay attention. And inadvertently, we had a horse in the arena at this time to provide a little bit of distraction. So as Indy is going around me, I will wave the flag above my head, and what I want him to do is turn and look at me and stop his feet. This is a great tool for horses who get anxious, either anxious because the arena is busy and there's a lot going on, or anxious because they're herd sour and they're by themselves in the arena. So if their focus is distracted for any reason, the flag can be an excellent tool to catch their attention. I will use it pretty vigorously above my head, especially in the beginning until they understand the cue. And they do sometimes go faster in the beginning and get a little bit anxious about it until they understand what I'm asking. You can see here now that Indy is hooked on, as I ask him to walk away, his head is straight towards me. So as he's walking around me, he has two eyes on me. He's watching for what I'm going to ask him next, like right here too. He's walking off more slowly. He's walking off with a little bend in his body. So he's much more connected to me. I do not use the flag at my horse's bodies or on my horse's bodies until they understand the concept of the flag just as a tool to grab their attention. And when I do offer it, I go out to the side and in front of them so they have the option to touch it. So I'm letting him make the choice to touch the flag rather than having the flag be a scary object that is chasing him around. Usually I offer a click and a treat in the beginning for this to reinforce the behavior. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps you have a happy and safe relationship with your horse on the ground.